Welcome back, everybody, to another day of CRL Madness in Open 4. I'm Patrick Smoke Chambers and joined by Theo, the Holy Juan. And, well, I don't have to do this solo again, so now I actually have a partner. Appreciate it. Thank you, Theo, for coming in. And, well, it's going to be a lot of fun. We have St. Clair going up against Ole Miss to start us off.
Yeah, it's a banger of a series. Ole Miss haven't been in the upper bracket at all, so the fact they've gone this far, they're in their absolute peak state. Our Saints yesterday had a winning day, winning every series. Came down to the wire, but they were able to come out on top. So, interesting matchup. Saints, obviously, a very, very strong team. Should be able to take this one, but Ole Miss, they've been surprising everyone this weekend, and they're going to look to keep their winning ways going.
Yeah, they have. Yesterday they came out with multiple upsets. They reverse swept Fisher. They then went on to beat Maryville. So it was just an absolute day of chaos. And somehow they've been able to now make it into the top 8, as we've seen before, as I'll touch on some of their previous results after. But before we get into any of that, we have a little quick interview just to start things off. Just a nice short one, as we have Shuffleverse here, coach of the St. Clair Green team as well. Here you go. So, immediately, Shuff, I was talking about yesterday with Jazzy. I just want to get surface level thoughts. Coming into today, what are some things that you guys have to clean up that we kind of saw some blunders of yesterday?
We surely need to focus more on being consistent. Yesterday there were a lot of mistakes during the start of the series. We had a slow start every series, but we still managed to reverse sweep every single one of them. So I'm proud of the job the guys did yesterday.
You have Ole Miss ahead of you. Yesterday, I know they were kind of peaking. I heard Jazzy in the interview, I was having him on, and he said that it's just a one-day peak. Are you guys worried at all about the matchup if they peak on you the same way that, they did yesterday against Maryville, or do you guys think it's going to be another one just in the books as you did in the SGS event earlier this year?
We are very confident. We think it's going to be another one in the book. I think it was a one-day peak. I don't really know how they managed to beat both Maryville and Fisher at the same time. But yeah, we got this cleared 4-0.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm confident.
We definitely want to see that. We don't want to look too far forward, but you guys have, locked up already. You guys are going to the World Championship. How are you feeling so far on the season? How are you feeling going into the most important time of the year?
I'm very proud of what we have accomplished this season. The guys have been putting a lot of effort into trainings and scrims. We improved a lot during the time, and I'm very happy they all get along well together. Of course, it's going to be the hardest competition, the one that is coming after this one, but I think we're going to still do great in it as well. We're going to try to win it all.
Yeah, you guys have a great shot at doing so. You guys have been playing good all season, and yeah, I think winning it all is kind of the only goal you have on your minds.
Well, I was going to say, we don't want to keep you here for too long, just a short one before you have to go. So good luck on your matches ahead, and hopefully you guys get this done quickly. If last second prediction, what do you think you guys take this one in?
Against Ole Miss?
Yeah.
4-0.
4-0.
Yeah.
You expect a sweep. Well, we'll see. But thank you. Good luck, and, well, we hope that result stands as predicted.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Shuffle.
Good luck, Shuffle. Well, that was Shuffleverse. It's always nice to get a little conversation with him, coach of Team Evo as well, so successful in his first split in the RLCS, and, well, can only hope that more success comes his way. As, again, let's talk a little bit more about the matchup. So we're going up against Ole Miss. It's going to be Lunar Stealth and C Money as the roster. We did see them in SGS, not SGS, the SGS event in Rocket League, and they placed second to our green team, ironically. So this is a rematch for them. I believe it was a sweep last time I remember for that final as well. I was casting it with Sebdot, and we saw on Twitter, he was like, oh, well, where have I seen this before? Well, you know what? Hopefully, because we're Saints fans here, history repeats itself. Any Ole Miss fans here, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I wish you the best. And you know what? If you keep up the day one peak that you did yesterday and you continues, all power to you. But right now, it's a new day. And for Saints, I think they've tried cleaning up some of the blunders that I saw that Shuffle was talking about that they were facing yesterday, namely slower starts and stuff like that. If they do, maybe I can see Ole Miss taking one game off of them. I might be able to see it going to a game 4, but other than that, I don't really know. In this best of 5, I think 3-1's probably going to be my prediction if I see any signs of life from Ole Miss.
Yeah, definitely Saints are the favorites on paper, and we just talked to their head coach. they feel like the favorites. They feel like they're going to win this one in a relatively strong fashion. So, yeah, definitely expecting the Saints to have a good performance today. 3-0, I think, is what they're expecting. That's what I'm going to throw out there as well. I think a 3-0 is going to come here. But as you said, Saints sometimes they tend to fall apart and give
Yep.
games away when they absolutely shouldn't. I would have to say it's kind of been their defense from when I've seen this team play. They kind of over-aggress sometimes, don't leave anyone back, and there's just too many goals that the other team gets with minimal effort. And I think those are like really important goals. They give the enemy team some momentum. They take away from your side of attack, and you go down a goal against a good defensive team that's just only focused on defense. It's kind of hard to, even with all your great offensive planning and play that they have, it's kind of hard to get a goal back past a team that's only focused on defending.
Yeah, you know what? I have to agree with you. A lot of the times when I see St. Clair concede goals, it's usually either off of double commits on the near post or it's happening in transition and they can't get back in time. So I have to quite frankly agree. If St. Clair can just clean up their transitions as they were last time and just get off on a fast start and kind of take the game by storm, as I saw them do usually in those game 5s and those game 3s, they'll be okay. The problem is you don't want to let Ole Miss get into the swing of things. They are still a team who are on their best day. They have beaten those teams like Maryville. They reverse swept Fisher. So, if anything, it's not going to be an easy matchup if you let this series continue for longer. I think, in my opinion, the quicker this one gets done, the better it is for St. Clair. The longer it goes on, the more you let Ole Miss get settled into the matchup. I think that probably starts to bode well for them. Looking at Ole Miss right now, though, they placed 25th to 32nd in Opens 1 and 2, and they placed 17th to 24th in Open 3. And now they're at least top 8 in Open 4. So they have been climbing, right? They have seen that they have been getting better over the season as it goes on. The problem is they're in a little bit of a pinch right now because this is the only Open where they've been able to register for any points to that CRL championship. And there's only now 2 scenarios for Ole Miss, and this is a huge day for them because they can still get in, believe it or not, even as that 15th seed with 3 points to their name, because the 2 scenarios that they get into the World Championships for Rocket League is that or for Collegiate Rocket League is either A, they win the whole thing of Open 4, which is, well, very unlikely as judging by the last results. I don't know if it'll happen. I mean, hey,
Anything's possible.
anything's possible, and any team on their peak, you know what? Maybe. But at the same time, this one is a little more possible because they could go on a little bit of a lower bracket run. I could see them pulling that off as if they make the finals. If they make the finals, they register for 12 points, and if so, that would knock out Cumberland, who's in 8th right now. And I think that what they also need is they need Cumberland to lose their first round immediately. And these are things that I can actually quickly confirm and pull up because Cumberland are playing up against Akron right now as we speak.
Yeah.
But that result hasn't been in yet because the series is actively going. So right now they're cheering for Akron, Ole Miss is. And on the other side of things, teams like, for example, Fisher and I believe Ball State, they're actually cheering for us to beat Ole Miss right now because they are in the 7th and 6th seed currently. And even if they even if both those teams make the CRL World Championships, if Ole Miss slips into the mix, obviously, they can go ahead of Ball State. I think maybe they'd be able to, if they win, go ahead of Fisher, seeing as how they just reverse swept them, so they'd have the series tiebreaker. I don't exactly remember how that one works, but either way, I think it's just more safe than sorry that you'd be cheering for St. Clair to win right now if you're from Fisher or from Ball State, which is not very common that we hear that happening. But you know what? The stars have aligned. It's just a new day, and that's just how it breaks down. That's just how it is.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, it's a very fun way to end the last CRL Open of the year, and there's high stakes, as you said. Ole Miss trying to make this miracle run. You know, unfortunately for them, they just didn't get off to a good start this season. But coming into next semester, no matter the results here, if they keep the same team and they play how they've been playing this weekend, they're going to probably surprise a lot of people next year. So a lot of positives all around the league. And yeah, there's definitely going to be some tension if somehow this series goes to like a game 5. I mean, we're going to see probably absolute fireworks. The nerves from Ole Miss will definitely probably show at some point throughout this series. I mean, if I was on Ole Miss and I know I'm 1 series away from doing what was practically even unthinkable before this weekend, I'll be nervous going into the series against the Saints, against one of the best teams. I think the second most points by any team through the CRL Open. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Ole Miss, nerves will definitely be a factor. And I think Saints should know that. Saints, they have really nothing to play for. They made it in. They're going to be in cruise control. So I think if Ole Miss, if they start off strong and get a lot of adrenaline pumping in them, start playing really good, they could give themselves a real shot in the series, especially if the Saints are pretty laid back and they don't really need to care too much about the series, but obviously they want to end off with a win.
Right, because at the same time, the more points you get, the further on you go into the tournament, the higher obviously you will go into the rankings, and therefore the seeding in the top 8 for CRL championships will work itself out. As I said previously, you don't want to necessarily slack off in the series. Yes, I know St. Clair have made it, so technically they could, and it wouldn't necessarily be like all doom and gloom, like, oh no, this is horrible. No, you're still going to make it, but the problem is you just want to make sure that you solidify yourself as high as you can. And right now, being in the number 2 seed, that's a pretty damn good spot to be in. So you just want to make sure that you can continue and keep that, because schools like Maryville, who are in 3rd right now, have a chance to knock you off your high horse. You want to try to get ahead of Northwood? Well, they're number 1, and I believe, as I'm seeing this right now, they are only... Yeah, so there you go. They're 6 points ahead of you. So I don't know if that one's actually going to necessarily happen. Actually, I believe they're 7 points ahead. So I don't know if that, split is going to happen, minus if Northwood literally burgers out of the first 2 series. But
which probably won't happen.
Probably won't happen, because I know that Hockey Creams and Zenil, they definitely aren't ones just immediately throw that away, right?
Yeah.
They're literal RLCS caliber players, so I don't think that that's going to happen at all. But at the same time, they're up against Concord first. It's not the easiest of matchups, and when you have a team like Maryville chilling in the bottom bracket, Maryville could literally go the entire way to the finals. So I could 100% see that for these teams in the top, you have the luxury of dodging Maryville for the start. But the second you go into that lower bracket, it just turns into absolute chaos, because you have an absolute beast down there lurking. So it really does matter in the case of if you're worried about seeding. Yeah, for St. Clair, you want to win, because you could totally lose your next series if you're not careful. Your next series would be up against the winner of Concord and Northwood, and then from there, as it goes down the line, the losers of these series are going to have to inevitably play that Maryville roster, who, in my mind, as I look at it, I genuinely do think that even though they are 3rd right now, Maryville is a team that is very easily capable of winning one of these. They already have shown that in the past. They already have gone to multiple finals. And even though, yes, one was unfortunately a loss against St. Clair and then another one was a loss against Northwood, on their day, they can 100% beat these teams. So you really do have a demon just lurking down below and could 100% pull a bracket reset off of the top team and win Open 4. It would not surprise me in the slightest.
Yeah, I mean, these top 3 teams on any day could beat each other. But speaking of the teams, we've been talking about the Saints. Let's take a look at our roster, who have been playing so well all semester. We are going to have from left to right Arju, Jazzy, and Azai. Obviously, you guys saw the head coach Shuffleverse. I mean, this roster, perfect. They've gelled well. They're doing great. And they're just going to look to keep their winning ways going. I feel like they have really good vibes in and out of the game. You can see they're doing some pregame prep. Always see these guys smiling, by the way. Every time we have a camera, when they're not in game, they're having a good time. They're smiling. So, that's always a great thing to see. That means the players pretty happy with what's going on.
Absolutely. I mean, they have every right to be happy. I did a kind of a mass breakdown of the team yesterday. I'll just kind of summarize and go over what I believe the lineup usually holds. We have Arju, who's kind of known for just being able to be the artist on the pitch, if you will. Usually finds a lot of creative passing lanes and is one of the most mechanical players, at least CRL, in terms of success rate off of those mechanics and off of being on the ball. His on-ball control is world class, and it really does show, because he's also on Team Evo, so there you go, right? But I think, as I stated before, he's most dangerous when he's able to kind of take his time and visualize a defense. When he kind of sees where everyone's playing, he can then also calm through to like Jazzy to go make something happen in the back line, or Jazzy might already even be there. And moving on to why Jazzy is so great, he stepped into more of an aggressive role. I talked about this yesterday as well, as sometimes, he would need to find those demos and find the bumps, boost steals, stuff to free up offenses, and Zai is usually known as that world-class number 9, that shooter, right? He's always able to make space in the box in the finishing area, and he's usually able to put on some incredible shots of high caliber. But something that I saw that was interesting yesterday was, Theo, when they were up against that series in Colombia and whatnot, I was talking with Arju, and the last time I had an interview here when he was with me and Wyatt, Swag Studios Rapson, shout out to you, was he said that, yes, while it does look like there can sometimes be roles here, it is very similar to see that everyone can do anything.
Yeah.
So switching up and adapting to new play styles is nothing they're new to. And I saw that yesterday because it ended up being Jazzy who was kind of more putting shots on in the series against Columbia, in the series against Ball State. And Zai was the one creating passing lanes to him. That link up from the Versterland roster was kind of cooking. So we're going to be getting into the game very shortly here, but I'm not going to lie to our own predictions. I definitely have them winning in 4 St. Clair Green. Theo, as the kickoff goes through, what do you think early?
Yeah, I mean, I'm taking Saints 3-0. I think they're going to really show out here. And you know what they said about Ole Miss? They think it's just a one-day performance from them. But Ole Miss, looking like they're not taking that one lightly. They're going to start off this series with a quick goal. And it's another off-the-transition goal. And
Yeah,
easy.
I was going to say, we've been talking about this before. It's not uncommon that you see the Saints concede on transition. We saw the demo come out, and that was kind of the starter to everything, right? I believe it was Arju who got back, but the problem was didn't have enough in the tank to really get to that ball. So now, having to take the challenge high, it should be easily cleared out by Jazzy, but we'll have to just wait and see. There it is, the high ball. Now Lunar can pick that one off. Side across the midfield. Jazzy, he's looking for a bump. The redirect maybe comes through instead, but C-Money clears out.
Yeah, and you see Ole Miss sending 2 players at that shot, making sure nothing slips through. Speaking of slipping through,
Transition again.
another easy goal. You can see the Saints, I think they're a little bit too relaxed. They're just giving up transition goals. We said this was kind of their biggest fault, and it's going to keep coming back to bite them if they keep playing like this.
Yeah, and you know what? I can now definitely see it was even on the first goal. It's the same thing. Jazzy gets demoed, and by the time the transition comes through, Jazzy, he can't get to a great spot on defense in time. He's not able to find the save. So now, beautiful job there from Ole Miss. They're immediately firing on all cylinders, and they're definitely exploiting the weaknesses that we saw from yesterday. And look, don't get me wrong, again, I'm still very confident in our St. Clair team, but if stuff like this is going to continually happen from yesterday, I said it before with Ball State, I didn't think that St. Clair would be able to beat Ball State if they kept stuff like this up. And now that I'm seeing this, especially when we're getting to the top 8, it's unacceptable. So if St. Clair do not clean up their act soon on transition, this game could very easily, even the series, get away from them very quickly.
Yeah, and we saw Ole Miss, they're very disciplined on the defense here. They're double committing on saves to make sure nothing squeaks through, and playing very, very solidly. Now they get possession back to C-Money and Zai. Have a 50. It's going to be Lunar first to it, but he whips on it. He's going to leave it back for Stealth as Jazzy going to go up for that 50. Arju now gets it to himself, gets a shot on target, but there's a defender in the goal. C-Money with a great save. It's Saints who have a lot of possession right now in Ole Miss's half, but they're struggling to find some really dangerous opportunities as Ole Miss has been pretty solid on the defensive end. They're getting these 50s, they're clearing around, and Saints, I mean, they need a goal quickly to get themselves back in this game.
Right, I mean, 3 minutes left to go. We're almost at the halfway point, and right now St. Clair, it seems like they're getting a little bit drowned out even when they have possession, which is one of the big things that the team is very good at doing. You have to be able to convert, right? I mean, if Ole Miss can just stay back like an iron wall, save after save after save, clear after clear, they're going to create those chances in transition, and they will execute on those.
Absolutely, as now Saints looking to push the pace. Lunar gonna just keep it up. Their Stealth gonna have a shot on target, but should be pretty easy save there for Zai. Good job by the Saints getting back on transition there, but now an attack for the Saints. A nice pass, but there's nobody to follow it up. It's gonna be a clearance from Ole Miss, and now past that halfway point. St. Clair needs to find something to get themselves back in this game, but you could definitely see why Ole Miss was getting so much success. We get a whip there, which is going to give Saints an opportunity here. Arju trying to get over one defender, but C-Money's there for the fall. The shot is not on target, and Ole Miss get away with one there. Definitely could have been a dangerous opportunity for the Saints.
Yeah, you know what, again, that's what happens when you give Arju time. He's able to read the defense, finds 250s, and all of a sudden shots get generated, right? It's almost as if it's just his bread and butter, and that's what we've been going on about. Another goal in transition could happen, but it's a great job using the single flip to save the other flip to elect for the save, and it's Jazzy. He stays composed on defense, but St. Clair, he's got to be a little bit careful. Pinch going off the wall for Zai is going to leave it up to Stealth, and right now, I think that, you know what, Ole Miss, the tide is definitely turning. We're seeing St. Clair now definitely dominate on possession, but like I said before, they need to bear some fruits of their labor because right now they're still down 2-0. Ole Miss can continue just playing this volleyball back and forth as long as they want. You can even give up a goal. It's not really your problem. You're up by 2. You have that safety net. And right now, St. Clair, I'm going to go ahead and say it. They need a goal within these next, 15 seconds or so if they really want a shot here, because I'm not seeing Ole Miss bend or even get close to breaking just yet on the defense.
Oh, but there's a whip there by Lunar, which is going to give a bit of an opportunity for the Saints. We can see Ole Miss, they can just triple commit just to get rid of it. They don't really care about scoring goals in this game anymore.
Yeah, they don't need to.
They want to take this 1-0 series lead and really give themselves some confidence. You can see they're playing with a lot of confidence. Giving up 0 goals to a team like the Saints is pretty tough task, but there's going to be a shot on target, a beautiful save there coming out from C Money, and the clutch play is coming out from Ole Miss when you as well. Still another opportunity here for the Saints. A nice tap in for Jazzy, an important goal. Saints now have 37 seconds to find another one.
So, you know what? It's going to be definitely a little bit hard, but at least you're on the board and you can start to create momentum off of this. It's not very uncommon that we've seen the Saints be able to score in bunches. So 37 seconds, I might have been a little bit wrong about my whole 15-second thing, but we'll just have to see as time moves on. It's going to keep on ticking. St. Clair, they still need another result. Stealth is in a little bit of a tough place, and he's going to be able to find the clear out, but you also just got to be careful because, again, on transition, you have to be lurking there. And oh no, please, Ole Miss, you don't want to bottle this one just yet. The shot's going to come through. It's a pass. Where's the next? It's 1, 2, 3, but Zai just can't put it on target. A rare miss from him. Arju, follow-up shots. What St. Clair's so good at, but no, Ole Miss, they're still able to just be fine on defense. A huge backboard clear from Lunar, and that's not only going to waste time, but also positioning from St. Clair. They need to have a pop-up, and that's a high touch. This is a great job from Ole Miss. They're forcing the complete bounce off the ceiling, and that means that the touch has to go low. St. Clair, they fall 2-1 in your game 1, and there you go, Ole Miss. You have your game as I predicted, but I didn't think that you were going to take one off the bounce.
Yeah, I mean, a great start for Ole Miss. Like we talked about before the series, if a team that's pretty good defensively can get a quick goal in transition or 2 like Ole Miss did, they just defended the rest of the game. I don't think they had any really dangerous opportunities just in open play. It was all off of 2 transition goals we started the game. So I think for the Saints, they just need to calm down a little bit, just play that defense. You could saw the possession was like 80-20 for the Saints. Ole Miss was just clearing it out, but it doesn't matter. They win the game, which is all that matters in the end. Obviously, Saints looked a little bit better towards the last 3 minutes of that game. They looked like they were dominating, but at the end of the day, it's 1-0. The lead is in Ole Miss. Now we're going to be starting fresh at 0-0. Saints just have to not allow early goal. I feel like the first goal for Ole Miss really got the things rolling.
Right, I mean, immediately you get the first goal, and the second one in transition comes through as well, and the message is clear for Ole Miss. Well, guys, we're dealing with their attacks pretty well. We're not really showing any awkward positioning on defense. Let's just park the bus. Let's just pull Arsenal from the Prem, right? Let's just park the bus and rely on our defense to get us through. And that's exactly what they did, and it was great. That's all they needed to do on the side of Ole Miss. And I think that, again, that's got to be the formula. Just take advantage of transition and try to park the bus. That one's off the sidebar, though. A very close attempt, almost put down from, I believe that was Zaire Arju. But now Arju with another one of his own. Just going to try to see if he can create some space right now for Jazz. You can try to find a passing lane to Zai, but gets caught out pretty early by Stealth on the backboard.
Yeah, great opportunity there to start the game off for the Saints, but just does not drop. But still, you can see the Saints playing a lot better Rocket League. But here they triple commit. There's going to be a shot on target, a good save from Stealth. Now they have to get back and quickly, and they're going to be able to do so this time. Stealth, though, gets around one defender, gets it around the second, and maybe this is a chance here for Ole Miss on the counterattack. Lunar gets it over into the middle. What a save there from Zai. Makes sure nothing happens, but now it's going to be Saints who are looking to break. Zai gets it over, but there's nobody for the follow-up. Both teams with pretty good chances on each side.
Yeah, you know what? I wouldn't surprise me. We know that these two teams have played a lot of volleyball back and forth in game 1. I could see the exact same thing happening here. St. Clair, you know what? The pressure's starting to kind of get on you a little bit. Ole Miss, to me, has looked like the better team in terms of defensive awareness. And St. Clair, yes, well, you've had a lot more possession time. You haven't really done too much with it. And again, at the end of the day, that's not going to mean anything if you end up losing the series. No one cares whether you had 80% possession or not. If you couldn't finish anything, you know, what does it matter? So right now, Ole Miss, You just got to keep on doing what you're doing. If you're St. Clair, you got to link up on some of these plays. And
Oh,
near double
chance.
attempt from Lunar on his own net. And he might actually pay for that, as right now the shot goes up. Backcourt defense going to be found. No, just off the sidebar
missed that.
again. As Stealth comes through with the help, and Ole Miss just barely survived. They're definitely looking a little more awkward on defense in Game 2. But we'll have to see. The Saints, they just haven't been able to capitalize just yet.
Yeah, I mean, golden opportunities for the Saints and some pretty big mistakes from Ole Miss, but it's still 0-0. St. Clair, though, still pushing forward. Arju gets it over the defender, but there's Lunar on the defense, and now the counter starts off. Jazzy, though, will have a pretty easy touch here. Stealth will be awaiting it once it drops down. Crossing to the middle, doesn't find much, but Simoni, he's up in the middle, gonna win out on the initial ball, and Stealth flies in out of nowhere, gets the defender past it, but the clearance is here from Jazzy. St. Clair now looking to push their own attack, but the defense from Ole Miss is solid yet again. We're halfway through this game, Patrick. Not a single goal. I mean, both teams can't seem to find anything on the offensive end.
Yeah, again, it kind of feels like in this game, Theo, it's just going to be a little bit of a nil-nil masterclass,
Yeah.
and then the first team who puts one in, I'm going to go ahead and say, is probably going to end up taking it because it just creates momentum, and the more clock that gets drained down, the less time your opponent's going to have to obviously respond with a counter punch. And again, this is just sort of one of those things where it just feels so tense because at any moment we know a mechanical play could go off, a gap in defense could be found, and all of a sudden you're staring down the barrel of being down 1-0. C-Money trying to go for the boost steal, and I believe he's just going to miss out. But the bump comes through nevertheless.
Oh my God.
And it's a beautiful play
Bump.
and great offensive awareness from Ole Miss and C-Money as well. Like and Lunar just comes through with the bump. It's just beautiful to watch. I was wondering, I thought for a second that was C-Money. I was like, how does he catch up there? He actually just leaves the play. Lunar gets the bump, and it allows Stealth to come through with the finish. It's a great job from Ole Miss, and they may have just found their final nail in the coffin if St. Clair cannot convert.
Yeah, and it was off the back of a demo again in that corner. All 3 goals for Ole Miss have come off of crucially timed demos in this series. And I was going to say, right before their attack, their kind of half-court offense looked really shaky. They couldn't really get much going, but right as I was thinking that, they pull off that great team goal with a big bump and a big demo, and now they're a minute 15 away from going up 2-0 against the Saints and moving through to the finals. I mean, it's gonna start getting to them. We're gonna start seeing the nerves probably pretty soon from Ole Miss, you'd have to think, but they're gonna keep pushing forward. Saints forced to play some solid defense. Now 1 minute remaining. I mean, St. Clair, they're just not looking too good, but I thought that was going to be a bit more of a mistake. Ole Miss just choose to reset as they know they don't need to find another goal. They can just park the bus again, play some solid defense, and try and get rid of any of the Saints' attacks.
This is going to be really close because Arju has a nice pass down.
Oh,
It's just going to be off the side.
Now the break.
That's again the 3rd time that's happened. Jazzy with a backflip, and now all of a sudden Ole Miss, they're attacking. This is still going in. Oh my God, at least I thought it was. It's just barely off the backboard, and now Zai with a chance to transition. Flip reset, he should be able to get over one, but no, Lunar times his jump perfectly. The pass comes through. Jazzy, you have to try to see if you can convert there, but it's great from Ole Miss. They just seemingly are beating St. Clair to the ball on defense. A pass attempt. There's a shooter up, but no, a double commit. The follow-up gets blocked as well. St. Clair, they're throwing everything at Ole Miss, but they just can't break through. You got to be kidding me. Ole
And that's
Miss
the goal.
on transition again, but it doesn't even matter. If St. Clair cannot keep this ball up, it's going to be Ole Miss taking series point and match point. It's not what I was expecting, but it's our maybe reality. The ball's still up though. Sai, solo play. He can try to get it over one, but that's going to be the defense that prevails strong. And now Arju, smart touch. Stealth, he actually keeps it up by accident. The ground has to come through the shot. It's just barely blocked away. Beautiful backboard defense. And Ole Miss are going to go on match point, series point. You could not have told me this is going to be the way I was going to be predicting it. But right now, Theo, Ole Miss, it seems like they are still peaking, and St. Clair, it seems like they are still struggling from yesterday. I'm seeing a lot of the same issues, but I could not have told you if I was a betting man that I would expect them to be down 0-2 in this series. They need to pull a reverse sweep now if they want to move on.
I mean, you saw how many posts they hit in that second game. Like, opportunities.
It was 3 times.
That should 100% of the time, especially for these caliber of players, be at least shots on target, at least forced to save. And it was a 1-0 win. Ole Miss just hang on. They get a beautiful goal, a beautiful team goal. Not even in transition that time. It was just a good bump with a good demo at the right time, and that's all they need. They played solid defense for 5 minutes yet again. In 2 games now, Saints have scored only 1 goal against this Ole Miss team. And, I mean, they're looking really good right now, up 2-0. They know how important this series is. If they can take down the Saints here in a sweep, I mean, they'll be putting themselves in a like a team to watch, like all eyes on this team. And there's a lot of teams probably watching this series, Patrick, as we were talking about, that aren't probably too happy about Ole Miss going up 2-0. I mean, this is an important game 3. I think if Saints can win this one, they could start the reverse sweep. But if Ole Miss take this, it's gonna be quite a performance from them.
And you know what? This is why we love esports. Anything can happen. You know, I had Ole Miss not obviously being the favorite. I think everybody did, because it just didn't look like early that was going to be what was happening. And Jazzy, he's going to be able to score and at least put St. Clair up. And I just want to say real quick, we have had 2 upsets in the lower bracket. This is absolute insanity right now. Cumberland has beaten Akron, and they're moving on to the quarterfinal. And Maryville, yes, ladies and gentlemen, Maryville has lost in 4. So it's been a day of upsets, and this one is just going to continue even in the upper bracket as well, because Ole Miss, they find their equalizer, and we could have, out of the 4 series going on, 3 upsets happening in your open force for CRL. This is absolutely insane, and it means even more for teams like St. Clair, who we know have struggled against teams like Maryville in the past. Now that you don't have to deal with those, and you're seeing teams that you've beaten before in the lower bracket, you could go ahead and win this one all you want. You just have to stay in the uppers, and if anything, that means more to St. Clair now than not. So right now, both teams, they got to lock in, and you know what? I got to say it, Ole Miss has definitely been beating them to the punch.
Absolutely, and that was a big kickoff goal. Now they look for a second side, though, with a good clearance. I mean, this game a little bit more goals, but still a lot of game left to play. Let's see how the Saints look to start off their reverse sweep. C-Money in the corner will get it in there, and it's Arju who's going to start the attack for the Saints. Drops it off to Jazzy. Can be in the corner. Stealth will be first to the ball from the look of things here. And has a man to beat, isn't able to beat him there. It's going to be Arju in the corner, picking it up, trying to start an attack for the Saints, but Ole Miss quickly countered that one out. Now Lunar gets it up. Is it going to be anyone for the follow? Nice touch there by Lunar. Nobody's in front of the net, but there is Stealth following it up, and it's going to be Ole Miss taking the lead. Patrick, if they can hang on to this one, I mean, this would be crazy, crazy stuff.
Hey, you know what? Saints getting swept in the winner's semifinal could not have told you that was going to be the case, especially by a team like Ole Miss, but they've been improving. Like I said, their places that they've been finishing in these opens, they have technically been improving as the season goes on.
Oh!
I could not have predicted that, you know, maybe a sweep could be in the possibility here for Ole Miss. St. Clair, they're still trying to deny it, but it's easier said than done. Stealth has a double off the backboard, but it's going to be Lunar who's able to stop the transition from St. Clair. Off the ceiling now, he has a flip to burn. He's going to elect to use it to keep the ball up, looking for the air drill bump, but it's not going to happen. Jazzy, he stays composed for now, but the Saints aren't out of the thick of it just yet.
I mean, Ole Miss just straight up look like the better team at this moment. They're playing with such pace. Stealth gonna fake it out there. If you got a touch on that one, could have been a goal. Now C-Money forced to get back quickly and make that clearance. I mean, Ole Miss, they're 3 minutes away from securing their spot, but what a goal there from the Saints. Beautiful pass over to Zai in the air, and just like that, in the blink of an eye, we're tied up yet again.
Well, Arju immediately saw his man get the boost steal, and he knew right where Zai was going to be. Zai, you thought he was going to maybe rotate back, but Arju's always looking for the pass first. He cuts rotation, good pre-jump, and is able to find his man up top. So St. Clair, they have their equalizer, but there's a whole lot more to do. You have to win no matter what now. Reset from Jazzy, trying to get around Lunar, but it's not going to happen. Arju now, off the backboard, he's going to get shut down. C-Money, all defenders from Ole Miss, they've looked so good off the backboard so far in this series. They are not dwindling at all on defense when it comes to these, but you just got to be careful. They almost let up something in transition in St. Clair. Now they have another chance. Demo comes out, but Lunar, once again, he's just trying to chain dash. It's going to be a little bit messed up, but it results in almost like a fake.
Yeah.
It's C-Money. It's going to allow him to clear out.
Yeah, but Jazzy, he's going to stop that one quickly. Some ping pong played by both these teams at the moment. Saints had a great attack on their last goal. I'm definitely expecting more of that team play. They're able to win this game in this series, as it's going to be a good opportunity here. C-Money 1-on-2 is able to get a crucial touch. Now Lunar's going to be next up against Arju. Gets it over into the corner. 2 minutes left on the clock. Zai going to start the attack, trying to take on the whole defense himself. The save gets put in the right spot, but here's going to be another opportunity, a double
Great save.
there from the team of Ole Miss. You can see they desperately do not want to allow the Saints to score, but there's just too much pressure here from the Saints, you'd have to think. But another missed opportunity. Now Jazzy going to leave it out in front.
What is going
Saints,
on?
they just cannot get the finish. Finally, Zai comes in, and a much-deserved goal there from the Saints.
Well, you know, you say much deserved. Honestly, I don't really know if they were deserving of much more because there were so many chances that should have went in. But again, if you just keep shooting those follow-ups, they will eventually drop. If you can just continually drain, boost, and leave defenders with zero and in awkward position, surely something's got to go right for you eventually. And finally, St. Clair, they have their lead. But man, if you were to put me through St. Clair, another reverse sweep situation, I don't know how much longer I can keep doing this for you guys. This is just draining, not only just mentally, but also my heart. It can't take it anymore. It's Jazzy trying to fake 0-1, but you have to pull that result in order to make it through. And if that be the case, I would much rather go through the trauma of it. So, Jazzy, one more time, St. Clair, we'll see if they can pull off this reverse sweep. They are close to being one step of the way there, but there's still lots of game to be played. A minute left and down by one. We know Ole Miss can still capitalize on transitions.
Yeah, Arju gonna try and start the attack. If Saints can get one more for themselves, really put the nail in the coffin in this game 3 and give themselves some really good momentum going into the rest of the series would be nice, but don't get overconfident. Don't give Ole Miss an opportunity to find any sort of chances. There's a nice demo coming out there. Simoni 1-on-2, just going to bring the ball up here for the side of Ole Miss. Saints trying to get on top of this one quickly. Zai is there, but Stealth gets a good pass into the middle. The cross comes out, but Simoni isn't going to be able to find too much. A big demo, though, leaves the net wide open, but Ole Miss does not have players in the right positions there to follow that one up. There's going to be a nice clearance coming out with 10 seconds left. This last opportunity here for Ole Miss. It looks like St. Clair finally able to lock in here and should be taking this game 3.
Yeah, I think just with that miss right there, it should be done and dusted, and that it is, Theo. St. Clair, they get themselves on the board, but we've seen this before. St. Clair, you'll have to pull off another reverse sweep if you want to move on, and again, you know, the odds are stacked against you in order to do so, but you know what? In series where they have gone down 0-2 before, we saw it against Ball State. Technically, if history were to tell the tale, that means that St. Clair actually have an 100% win rate as of right now. But
and as of last game as well.
I was going to say yes,
When it was
much
down 0-2.
easier said than done. So St. Clair, you guys gotta follow the Chris Funston rule. You just gotta lock the heck in. That's just what you gotta do. And you're one step of the way there, but you still have quite the tall mountain to climb. So we'll see how successful they are in that notion. But Ole Miss, you know, they're still looking decent now as we get into game 4. They've allowed St. Clair to have some momentum, but they only lost by 1. They were still swinging with the best of them.
Yeah.
So we'll see how Ole Miss can do if they hang on or if they're going to start to mentally chalk themselves.
Well, yeah, I was talking about the nerves there. I mean, you could definitely maybe see it kicking in towards these later games. Do you think the Ole Miss players knows of what went down in the lower bracket? Because now, I don't think
anyone knows.
Yeah, I don't think anyone knows, but like no matter what happens in the series, both these teams, with the way they've been playing, I mean, they have a shot at making it really, really deep in this tournament, especially with Maryville already being out. So, I mean, if you're St. Clair, obviously you want this reverse sweep, but no, a lot of tournament left either way, no matter what happens here. I mean, Ole Miss, the only thing on their mind should be closing this one out, and they give themselves a real shot at a World Championships here. We're a minute into game number 4. Nothing too much happening. There's a shot on target, though, from Ole Miss, but a great save coming up from Arjun. Now Saints look to attack on the break, but it's stopped quickly by Ole Miss.
And I think because Ball State and Cumberland were at that sort of 8th to 7th spot and they went through, this means that the condition for Ole Miss to actually make CRL championships, they have to win the entire thing. And so getting sent down to the lower bracket right now would be a nightmare because you just don't want to have to face teams like Northwood or Concord later. So you definitely need to make sure that you keep your head in a swivel, but it's not like they know this information just yet. But again, definitely pleased that Maryville's out of it. But I will say as the game ekes on that right now, none of the players are thinking about this. They're thinking about the series at hand right now. And so far, as we stay 0-0, St. Clair, they have had more possession, but now Ole Miss, we know that they're dangerous when they have their chances, especially with 3 of their goals coming off of demos in the first 2 games. Just got to make sure that you don't alleviate time for St. Clair to create. That's almost a throw and a half. But Stealth just able to get there in time to help out.
A great job there. I mean, almost the own goal. If it went in, it would have been very bad. But mattered most, they found the save there. And yeah, Ole Miss, I think they're getting a little bit nervous, honestly. Like, that's a play that you wouldn't see from them earlier in the series. And now that it's crunch time, they need to close out one of the best 2 teams left in play today. And there's a big mistake there, Saints. They're going to capitalize on the 2-on-1, and they get a crucial goal to put themselves up 1-0.
Again, it's just Arju has the wave dash, cuts under one, and then immediately finds the pass under another Ole Miss defender. It's just beautiful to watch him kind of dribble through the whole team, but Jazzy going to be the one to put the final nail in the coffin for that play. St. Clair now, they move in 1-0 with just under halftime left to go in this game. Ole Miss, you can definitely see them starting to up the pace on their attacks, and just in the way they move their cars in general, I'm seeing them really expend more boost to each touch, and they're definitely trying to turn it up a notch.
Absolutely, they need to turn it up to 100, 150 some would say at this point in the game. 2 minutes left. This can be an opportunity, and there it is instantly. A 1-on-1. Lunar gets the finish over the defender. We have ourselves a brand new ball game. Patrick, you see it again. Lunar gets a good shot on target, and sometimes all it takes is one right in that bottom corner. Now we're tied up at 1 with 2 minutes. Anybody's game.
Right, I mean, it was a great pass from C-Money to just set it all up, and there was a Saints defender on the backboard who just couldn't get there in time. But right now, St. Clair, how do you respond? Tied up right now, Ole Miss, they've found their equalizer. OT would definitely be very stressful for St. Clair. They probably wouldn't want to force themselves into that situation, but at the same time, they have to then be the ones to force the issue. Ole Miss, they still have a buffer left to give, and St. Clair, those are all gone. Lunar with a redirect, but he just can't quite get that one on target from the corner read, and now Stealth trying to cut through the back line to see if he can find some bumps or demos, but instead, he's just looking at the challenge he has to make as Zai makes switch to the backboard. The shot comes through, and Arju off of Zai's pass has it just in the right place at the right time. Nothing Ole Miss could do about it.
Yeah, I mean, Zai finds the one-on-one against his defender and sets up his teammate perfectly there inside of the danger area, and yet again, Saints come out strong after being tied up. They take the lead again. Minute 20 left now. Looking to hold on one more goal for the Saints, would surely be able to close it out. And I'm definitely going to expect Ole Miss in this last minute to play a lot more aggressive. We might see some double commits. We might see some all-out attack moments, which could lead to a counter goal for the Saints. And if I'm on Ole Miss, I mean, that's not something I would hate. I think switching something up from the way things have been going wouldn't be the worst idea. Saints have looked definitely a little bit better in these last 2 games. And now it's going to be a dangerous opportunity for Ole Miss. But like Saints, they're just solid defensively. They don't overcommit anywhere. They make the saves. Now with 40 seconds, they're looking to close out game 4.
Well, it's good to do so, especially when pretty much all of them are on 0 boost. And now Ole Miss back in transition. This is where they're dangerous right now. Lunar trying to up the pace. The challenge comes in through Arju, but this one's still waning across the backboard as now Zai will have the out. 20 seconds left to go in Ole Miss. They have to make a challenge. They have to break free, and they have to do so with speed. St. Clair, they're trying to deny, but I believe a double demo comes in for Ole Miss, and that could be huge. The pass comes through, but it's just a little too short and too shallow. Zai able to deal with it, and now Arju has the flick back up. Jazzy, he fires a pass. He has a man downfield.
That's it.
It's 1-2-1 tiki-taka, and surely with only 8 seconds left and a safety net of 2 established, St. Clair, they are able to force game 5.
Patrick, you know what they say. Ole Miss, my miss, your miss, Saints in 5.
That's it. That's all it has to be, and right now, as 5 seconds go down, it doesn't necessarily matter. It's going to be Saints looking to do it in 5 as we will be heading to Champions Field. Zai able to find the final ground of the play, and that's all it's going to take. So you know what? You drop 2, very much recurrent of what we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
The Saints, it seems like they're definitely still having the same issues of starting out slow. But when it matters most, they're able to capitalize, they're able to get back on top, and that's all that matters at the end of the day. But the series is not over. We still have the most pivotal game
Yeah.
left to go. Winner take all. Loser goes down into a bracket that I definitely could not have predicted. So you know what?
Yeah.
They still might be able to make it far, but Ole Miss, you're in a scenario right now where you have to now win the entire Open if you want to make CRL World Championships. Everything else has already been confirmed.
Yeah, I mean, do or die here. I think the team that scores first, I'm going to throw it out there, this game is going to take it. I was going to say is going to lose, but I'm going to say is going to take it. And Saints need to get off on a strong foot. They've been very solid defensively last 2 games, not really allowing transition goals. The only goals from Ole Miss were just pretty good team goals. A kickoff goal was there. Nothing too crazy. So Saints have picked that up, and that was a dangerous chance. As now Zai going to look to win out on that 50, but Stealth, he's just chilling here. He's going to clear this one out. But it's going to be St. Clair yet again. They're going to be having a lot of this possession
Good
here
bump.
in this game 5. There's a great bump, and Jazzy flies in out of nowhere. Beautiful mechanical goal coming up from the Saints.
You know what? I saw Lunar going up, and Zai was probably thinking the same thing. You have the man behind you in Jazzy, and you can just end up going for that bump if you don't have the boost to finish that solo play. It's a great job of doing so, and now St. Clair, they found their goal early. And I know Ole Miss, you know, I was watching them in our St. Clair LAN. I know they're a little more of an emotional team sometimes. When they dig their own grave, they kind of sit in it. That's kind of like us as well at the same time. It's just usually the mental resilience does come through from our players. But now an open net comes through Stealth. He's left all alone in Ole Miss. Now I'm going to officially say it. I mean, you are in trouble. You're in the hot seat. A 50 goes down. St. Clair, it's still their ball. Stealth has to get rid of this one, and cleanly he has a challenge coming his way. He's going to be successful in doing so, but Lunar is going to have to get forced up too. It is a good shot, but Stealth just barely off the backboard is able to keep that one out.
And for Ole Miss, you know, this is the first time they've made it this far, and literally their entire season depends on it. They're definitely thinking of that one, especially when they go up 2-0. They're like, all right, guys, we can make a deep run in this tournament and we can qualify. But Saints now, they show why they're one of the top teams. They lock in when needed most. We saw them yesterday pull off the reverse sweep. Looking to do it again. Looking good as well in this game 5. And you know, Ole Miss haven't really had any opportunities this game at all. It seems like Saints have been playing defense very solidly. They found that beautiful team goals. Now they're looking to push for a second. Arju gets it to a teammate. The shot is just off target though. It's going to be cleared out, but Jazzy is going to be there in the midfield to make sure nothing starts for the counterattack on Ole Miss.
Yeah, I mean, these are huge 50s from Jazzy just because it keeps the ball in St. Clair control. The pass goes downfield, and that should be a shot, but just off the side post. A safety net would be huge there and would almost certainly be the final nail in the coffin for Ole Miss. But that isn't the case just yet. And I know right now we see that St. Clair, they've had a lot more possession time, I would imagine. But Ole Miss, they're still only down by 1. You can definitely catch the Saints sleeping here if you get a quick goal and immediately equalize. You then have momentum for these last 2 minutes. A little bit of a weird miss off the corner there. And we thought Ole Miss was going to pay a little more, but Lunar, he comes in for the defensive help.
Yeah, and Saints, though, still attacking. A good clearance, though, from Ole Miss, but there is Zai flying out of nowhere, trying to get it over to Arju, who's just going to back up, and you can see the Saints have definitely changed their play style. They're not going for these aggressive 50s when they don't need to, especially having this 1-goal lead. You can saw Arju, he could have went for that 50, but decided, you know, I'm just going to back up, make sure absolutely nothing can go down on a defense here. Now Ole Miss 2 minutes away from being sent down to the lower bracket as Saints look to pull off the reverse sweep. One more goal for the Saints. Probably more than likely wrap up this game, but you know, I'm pretty sure they're focused up on playing solid defenses. Ole Miss looks like they have a bit of a chance here. They're going to get a shot, but it's off target. They have another follow-up, but there's the Saints on the defense. That was definitely a dangerous opportunity for Ole Miss.
Well, that was their chance. That was one that they had to connect on. But right now, they are left asking questions, and they don't have very long to come up with answers. They have 1:30 left to go, and St. Clair, the more this game goes on, the longer they keep possession. They just need to force touches high or touches that they can beat. But Ole Miss, they've generated chances. This should be for Ole Miss, but it just isn't. Jazzy, he sneaks by. It was looking so good off of the backboard, but now 1:10 left to go. Still not over for Ole Miss, but they have to find another one like that.
That's put in a dangerous area, but Saints, you can see they're not over-aggressing on the attack at all. They're just making sure they're clearing in. You know, it could lead to their demise. We saw that opportunity for Ole Miss. I think Zai's going to be the only one really attacking here, trying to go 1-on-3. So Saints, they've gone to park the bus here. You know, they're going to still get some shots up, but they're not going too crazy. Going for some 50s there. The clearance comes out, though. Stealth heals first to that one. Could have got a dangerous shot on target. But Saints, as long as they keep the ball in the blue half of the field. Oh my goodness, Patrick. As I say that, two Saints overcommit. And there's a shot right off the crossbar. And now the counter starts for the Saints. Miss getting some beautiful chances, but Saints looking to close it out right here. And Zai gonna find the second of Saints. Go up 2-0 in the game 5.
Well, you know what? It seems like Ole Miss, they started to struggle from the problems the Saints had in games 1 and 2. It was just shots off the sidebar, the crossbar, all the woodwork. They're just doing the woodwork challenge. And right now it seems to be at their demise. The Saints, if they can just stand out for the next 20 seconds, not even, it should be their reverse sweep as they've done so many times in the past. A good demolition, and quickly, if a bump can be found out, maybe Ole Miss can find one on the board, and hold on. This one isn't over just yet.
Patrick.
8 seconds left to go. Ole Miss, they still have time. It was a good job from the demolition coming through, and that's another goal off of a demo that Ole Miss has been able to convert.
And now Saints, they've allowed a goal off a kickoff already in this series, so let's see how they play this one. They're going to send a one. Arju going to win out on that 50.
This is good for Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, they get an attack, and they get a beautiful shot on target.
What a
but
save.
The save near post is there. Now the Saints near spike this one down, but Ole Miss keep it up in the air. It's not over.
No, it has boost for them, though.
It's over. It's in the corner here. Can Jazzy find the spike? He does. What a close series. What a close game 5. But St. Clair pull off the reverse sweep, but they're going to be moving on in the upper bracket.
I need to see a replay of who made that save off the near post. You flip your car upside down, you reserve a flip just to make sure you can pinch the ball in between the floor and the goal line pretty much. Goal line save for St. Clair is going to be able to convert them moving further on through the upper bracket, but they keep on doing this to me again and again this weekend, Theo. They keep almost breaking my heart, St. Clair does, and they find the reverse sweep, but me, oh my, was that one close series.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Ole Miss. I mean, for a team that's never been this far in the tournament to against the second best team seeding-wise.
Taking them game 5.
Take them to game 5, take the first 2, and then that game 5 could have gone either way. So many chances for Ole Miss. And the nerves, I think, might have got to them when it mattered most. They've never been in this scenario. They don't know what it's like to be in these clutch scenarios against the top teams. And you could see it definitely experience well earned for them. They're going to have it for next time. But just a bit inexperienced maybe in these clutch moments. And Saints, you know, as you said, they do this basically all the time to you. They do the reverse sweep. They're down 2-0. That's their comfort zone. So I think experience a big part in this series. And Saints have it on their side. I think that's a big reason to why they're going through.
Yeah, you know what? I could not agree more. We have the stat sheets. Let's pull them up real quick. But St. Clair, you were able to survive the oncoming onslaught. Being down very early, though, it was definitely looking like anybody's series the entire way. But you know what? We saw them do it once. They repeat history. They do it again. Send another reverse sweep. Arju, Jazzy, Zai, their mental fortitude stands strong. And it's very clear to see that in production. I mean, honestly, we look at how they were feeling throughout games 1 and 2, Theo. You've talked about it before. They're a team that even after a loss, you'll usually see as we go to the player cams that they're going to be laughing, they're going to be smiling, and that was kind of the same case as what we saw here. They weren't worried after game 1. Game 2 happened. You know, maybe it's kind of like after game 2, I think Shuffle had to really just kind of step in there and probably say a little something about, hey, you know what, guys? Lock in. This is just stupid. But you know what? They did end up doing so. As we have our MVP, it's going to be Zai. We have his stats. We can just pull him up real quick. He was a shot creator, and he was able to, in that last game, to find an assist as well. Had 2 GA, both goal involvements, and had, I believe, that last second save as well off the ground pinch. So you know what? Zai, hats off to you, man. Hats off to St. Clair. They did it, but wow, I'm trying to see if I can maybe see who we have potentially coming up next, but I don't believe that Northwood Concord series has been decided just yet. So, you know, we'll have to do a little more waiting, but we will have to see. If you want to follow that series, make sure that you head over to the Rocket League channel. The rest will be taken from there. But man, I just got to say, last little shout out to everyone in the back room. Thank you, Matthias. Thank you, Adrian, as well, who's on site. Thank you, Theo, for casting with me, for not making me have to do solo one again. I really appreciate you coming through.
worries.
That was awesome from you to just take the call. And honestly, thank you to all the fans at home. Thank you for all that are watching. Shout outs to everybody today who played, St. Clair's members, Ole Miss's members. You guys put on quite the show, no matter if you were on the losing or winning side. Shout out to our sponsors, the SRC, SEC alumni, Alienware, Tim Hortons, and Subway. And Theo, any last words before we close out?
I mean, yeah, just good luck to the Saints, last CRL of the season, and good luck for them in the World Championships. Hopefully they can go really far.
Yeah, tune in April 5th for those, ladies and gentlemen. But until then, it's been me, Patrick Smoke Chambers, and
Theo, known as the Holy Juan, and thank you guys for watching, and have yourselves a wonderful rest of your day.